What we should problematize is how, even if you are a leftist liberal for multiculturalism and so on, you or they, okay, usually accept the same problematic field. That is to say, the big politically correct topic is harassment. Be tolerant towards each other, don't harass others. Okay, again, this is a real problem, but it's a little bit more complex. In the sense that, where is ideology in the topic of harassment? Ideology is in the underlying view of man, where, as we all know, our permissive civilization is more and more perceived as a civilization of victimization. We feel always threatened by something. Politics today, as we all know, is more and more becoming politics of fear. The way to mobilize people in our post-political apathetic times is to arouse fear. This goes, unfortunately, for the right and for the left. Fear of immigrants, fear of or fear of racists themselves, fear of the too big state, and so on and so on. You need an object of fear. And then, okay, I will not go here into my own theories about how the category which I think is emblematic of this logic of struggle for tolerance and so on is the phenomenon that I often like to mention. Did you notice how, if there is a product which is emblematic of our late capitalism, I think, are these famous products which offer you a substance or a product deprived of its substance, so that you get product without what makes it dangerous. You get coffee without caffeine, you get beer without alcohol, you get chocolate without sugar, and so on and so on. My thesis is that not only is this typical for commodities, material products, it goes also for the social domain. My critique of liberal multiculturalism is that with all its tolerance for the others, it's decaffeinated other, how should I put it, no? Like, this would be we in many, precisely, of these post-communist Eastern European countries, we have problems with Romas, or, to use the politically incorrect term, gypsies, or with other minorities, and so on and so on. And my problem are not only the populist racists who are openly against them. I think that if you look closely at how liberals who defend Romas, not what they are claiming they do, but what they effectively do in their talking, their activity, is that they decaffeinate Romas, how should I put it, no? They are for Romas, but if you look at it closely, some magical figure of gypsies of Romas appear who are rendered harmless. No, they don't exploit sexually their family, their children. If you mention that, you're already politically incorrect. No, they just dance some folkloric dances and have their own way of life, and so on and so on. So this would be one line. So my thesis is what we call in liberal multiculturalist way, tolerance means exactly its opposite, de facto. Tolerance means don't harass me. Don't harass me means I am intolerant towards your over-proximity. Tolerance means society of tolerance in liberal multiculturalist view, de facto means let's keep the proper distance. Don't come too near to me. Which is why, this is one of the reasons why charity is becoming so popular. There are other reasons. I claim that charity is today crucial for the reproduction of capitalism. It's no longer just some crazy capitalist for some strange reasons want to be charitable. Charity is part of the game. It plays a precise ideological function at a whole series of levels. First, let me make a simple experiment. You see on a TV a publicity desperately manipulative for some usually some black distorted child, and then comes the message. Do you know that for the price of 2 cappuccinos you can save this child's life, and so on and so on. All very nice, but what's the real message? The first one is, look what we are offering you. For the price of 2 cappuccinos, You can forget about the problem, not only forget, but even feel good that you are actually participating in solving the problem, and so on and so on. Second thing, and this brings me slowly, don't be afraid, I'm not losing my threads, to my topic. The message, there is even a darker message, which is don't think. Do something, but don't think. You know why I was attentive to this? I remember how once, when I was young, it was the right-wingers were saying, be satisfied, we lead a stable life. Radical leftists were saying, are we aware that we in the West live in an ivory tower, but out there people are starving, people are dying of diseases which could be easily cured, and so on and so on. Bill Gates talks like this today, all the time. What's the real message? The real message is, I think, don't think, act. The real message is, forget, as they like to put it, this post-political, post-modernist, forget about all political struggles, capitalism, ideology. People are starving, do something, help them, and so on. Precisely, the point is not to think. I think more than ever we should exactly start to think today. We live in, that's why I'm really glad that I'm here. This is how I see your role. Don't become part of, I'm really against it, Bologna process. By this I mean, this, this is, in old Yugoslavia, we had, some of you are probably unfortunately old enough to remember it, we had, when the communists were losing, as it were, their battle, their last desperate attempt was at least to streamline education, and they tried to impose something called usmierność obrazowanie, directed education. The point was less humanities, which just confused people. All education had to have a clearly defined social goal to be of some use, and so on and so on. Now I'm just surprised to learn how maybe there was really, as Yugoslav theoreticians like to boast, a world historical cosmic importance of Yugoslav self-management. Now Europe is rediscovering the same ideology. The point is precisely this social usefulness of everything. But are we aware that that's the first elementary lesson that today, precisely in times of crisis, we should remember it? That all great discoveries were byproducts. Literally all. They happen, just name me. For example, Chomsky, I'm not talking now about politics, but his generative grammar. It comes from how he was playing games, how you can reconstruct the logic of a sentence, and so on. According to some Darwinian biologists who are very close to me, like Stephen Jay Gould, even language, which distinguishes us humans, wasn't directly formed as a mode of adaptation, but was a byproduct. Something ape organism tried to adapt to environment, and as a byproduct, a space was open, which was then used by, a space for language, which was then secondarily used, and so on and so on. So more than ever, we should, today, we need, what should I call it, non-utilitarian, useless, if you want, paradoxically thinking, precisely to be in the long term of real use. We should totally reject this notion of, we have problems, let's stop speculating, let's focus on, I don't know, economic problems, this, that, and so on. No, this is not how you effectively solve problems. Second thing, don't be blackmailed by this emergency state rhetorics. Time is running out, people are starving, all is falling apart, stop philosophizing, give us answer, and so on and so on. But do we really even know where we are today? I claim not. I claim that what's going on today in the world? Many things. I'm almost apocalyptic. But on the one hand, we have people who simply think the old goes on with a little more aesthetic changes. These are mostly either old liberals or old Marxists. They think basically the same capitalism goes on.